In 1987, India suffered an attack at the hands of Pakistani soldiers when 29th Baloch infiltrated into Indian territory and occupied positions at the height of 90,000 feet. The first unit of Indian Army which discovered the Pakistanis suffered heavy casualties. 45 of their men were martyred and over 140 wounded. Unprovoked fire from Pakistan had become a norm till in 1990 when a unit led by Major General Bakshi, who was then a lieutenant colonel, got stationed at Kaksar. Major General Bakshi knew he had to take matters in his hands and decided to give a fitting response to the unruly behavior the Pakistani soldiers were displaying.
So I told that general, the next general who came, I said, "Sir, you can't get my boys treated like punching bags. You want a weak unit here, you can get any unit that you like. You got my unit, let me fight. Let me fight, let me give it back."
With the backing of his commanders, Major General Bakshi prepared a plan. The Indian Army used the Zojila Pass, which opened only in the month of May. Pakistani Army used the Burzil Bypass, which opened in the month of July. This meant that the Indian Army had a window of 3 months to take decisive action. Major General Bakshi used this time to stock bare minimum supplies, strengthen his defences, and eventually attack the winter stockpiling of the Pakistani troops. The turning point of the war was when the extent of infiltration was diagnosed, thanks to the probing attacks, after which the Indian Army could pull out its final punches. The heavy guns, including howitzers, Bofors, and Grad multiple rocket launching systems were brought in. The artillery fire was ably supported by the Indian Infantry, which launched attacks from impossible positions. They climbed up steep surfaces and surprised the intruders. Lauding the courage of his boys, Major General Bakshi quotes a Pakistani soldier who in his statement described how the mad Indians kept coming at them despite the Pakistanis firing enough shots to make their trigger fingers go numb.
We prepared, we hit 29 Baloch so hard. They had their battalion headquarters, the CO's hut was burnt, the officers' mess of 29 Baloch was burnt, the entire area where they used to have this was shelled by a regiment of artillery which is 18 guns, a light battery which is 6 120mm mortars, 6 platoons of mortars, that is about, each platoon has 6 mortars, 81mm mortars. They were rained down on that.
On sensing Major General Bakshi's move, in a bid of desperation, the Pakistani commander launched mortar fire on the Indian positions. Major General Bakshi had anticipated it and at once deployed 5 mortar regiments of Indian Army for a no-holds-barred attack. This silenced the Pakistanis, who not only suffered heavy casualties but also an injured pride as they retreated immediately to save themselves from a losing battle. When leading men into battle, it is imperative that they trust their leader unconditionally. And leading by example is the most potent way to do so. Major General Bakshi enjoyed a high level of respect and trust amongst his men because he always led with courage, audacity, and by example.
Audacity, audacity, and more audacity. Well, that is at the throbbing heart of every heroism in the front end. In the back end, you have preparedness, you have thoughtfulness. In the back end, you have thought through what the whole event is going to be. Indeed, a successful and audacious hero is the one who can see the future implications of present actions. In the case of Major General G.D. Bakshi, you saw exactly that. He had courage and audacity, but he had influence. He had the ability to include and muster the support of his seniors, an ability to get the resources that he required, an ability to mount an attack and not step back until he had finally managed to decimate or eliminate the enemy. He used lateral thinking. He studied. He looked at the landscape. He looked at the opportunities that had not been explored before and he exploited that to the hilt. All that I want to say is heroism in the front end presumes meditative thoughtfulness in the back end, and that is our most critical takeaway.